Coming up next, Tennessee getting the tea ready as the Vols and the Tigers are ready to meet in Knoxville. Alabama has just tapped Brock Heward with Memphis at Tennessee.
We welcome you to Knoxville, Tennessee on this beautiful autumn evening for another Saturday night in the SEC. Whether on land or on water, Tennessee fans are second to none when it comes to pride and passion for college football and for their beloved Volunteers. Moments ago, outside Neyland Stadium, the traditional ball walk as first-year head coach Lane Kiffin and his father Monty enjoying the Tennessee turnaround and a defense that has been playing lights out. The Vols will try and continue their winning ways tonight against an in-state foe, the Memphis Tigers. It's homecoming in Knoxville. Are you ready? These fans sure are.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by Citi. It's a battle for the Volunteer State. Two schools separated by 384 miles of I-40. It's the Memphis Tigers and the Big Orange of Tennessee. Glad to have you along for the ride. With my partner Brock Heward, the former Washington Husky quarterback, I'm Eric Collins, and these Tennessee Volunteer fans have never been so happy to be average. The Volunteers this year are officially a mediocre team. 4 wins, 4 losses. But new head coach Lane Kiffin and his dad Monty, they have restored a sense of optimism to the program.
And I think the faithful here can see the confidence these guys are playing in, but more importantly, the growth within this system, the understanding of these systems. And this is a system with Monty Kiffin that's had a lot of success through the years at any level, collegiately early in the NFL, and now coming back and establishing it here in Knoxville. 1 touchdown in the last 3 games. They're becoming more opportunistic. They're playing faster. And Monty will tell you, any coach will tell you, it helps when you have tremendous playmakers. And Eric Berry, the safety, the strong safety on the back end, don't let the numbers fool you. The interceptions are down, but the playmaking ability is not. And I like how Monty described him. He said he has the versatility. He can cover like a corner, and he'll hit you like a linebacker. And that's why eventually he'll be an early round NFL draft pick.
Eric Berry and the Volunteers are going to take on a Memphis Tiger team that is really struggling so far in 2009. Has been dominated by the folks from Knoxville. This is the 22nd meeting, and the Volunteers, they've won 20 of the first 21. But don't be deceived. Some of these games have been really close. The last 9 games, basically half the series, the average margin of victory has been 12 points. That's not much, all things considered. Beautiful autumn evening for football. Temperature in the high 50s. A little bit of wind. And we will have Tennessee receiving the football. Memphis won the toss, and they deferred to the second half. So Tennessee will go on offense. On the return, young freshman David Oku has the football and a full head of steam. Oku with a chance, crossing the 50. What kind of speed does he have? Caught from behind at the 25. That's the way you start a ball game if you're a Tennessee Volunteer.
And absolutely not the way you want to start the game if you're Tommy West. They've struggled defensively this season, being physical at the point of attack. And you see, even in the special teams area, an area where Memphis has struggled so badly this season in covering kicks. And there's some of the bursts from the true freshman Oku getting to the sidelines and igniting the fans.
So here come the Volunteers. Great starting field position for Jonathan Crompton, 5th-year senior from Waynesville, North Carolina, just about an hour away from here. And they hand it off on first down. Hardesty wants to throw, and it's incomplete. Looking for Gerald Jones. Trick play right out of the chute for the Volunteers.
You're not going to see a lot of Hardesty throwing the ball tonight. Trust me, you will see him rushing it. 4th in the SEC, been very productive. Defensively, Rico McCoy is a difference maker. Monty Kiffin's scheme, that weak side linebacker has to be a solid tackler. Over 300 in Rico's career. We did plenty of talking about Eric Berry in the open. We'll continue through these 60 minutes tonight.
Starters offensively for Tennessee scrolling across the top of your screen. Crompton wants to throw. Complete. Denarius Moore with the grab, pushed out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Moore is the speedster from Tatum, Texas. Makes his 20th grab on the season. Third down and 3 for the 4-4 Tennessee Volunteers. Still need a couple of wins to become bowl eligible. Hardesty deep in the backfield. They give it to him on 3rd and 3. He's got the first down and more inside the 5 to the 3. 14-yard run for Hardesty.
And the fifth-year senior showing you right away some of the patience that he's shown all season long, in the vision there. Helmet on a helmet, that is a tackle your safety, Alton Starr, has to make tonight. Memphis will try to get 8 guys in the box. They'll walk either Marcus Ball down, number 1, or in that case, number 7, Alton Starr. Those guys got to be much more sure in their tackling if the Tigers have a chance.
Trying to improve that percentage in the red zone. First down and goal. Ball just inside the 4. Hardesty is the deep back. They give it to him. Tries the right side, and he's knocked down. You know, just with that most recent carry, Montario Hardesty has moved into 15th place all-time on the rushing list. Here at Tennessee, he has passed Beatty Feathers, one of the all-time greats here at Tennessee. Beatty Feathers went on to the NFL and was the first running back to ever rush for 1,000 yards in a season in the NFL, way back in the 30s for the Chicago Bears. So a big-time name in early football lore. Bryce Brown checks in, replacing Hardesty in the backfield. They put him in motion. Crompton wants to throw. Incomplete. Tried to squeeze it to Brown, but a hard hit knocks the football away. It was Brian Wright coming in from his cornerback spot.
And that's a really nice play by Brian Wright, filling in for maybe Memphis's best corner, who is out, D.A. Griffin, with an ankle injury. And you see Brian Wright aggressive, putting the helmet right on the football, and expect to see a lot of that tonight. A lot of rollout passes. Lane Kiffin said Jonathan Crompton very underrated and undervalued with his ability to throw on the move.
Brown still in the game behind the fullback Kevin Cooper. Touchdown, Tennessee!
You just had the sense yesterday, didn't you, in our production meetings, talking to Lane Kiffin, the excitement he feels for his youngster, the #1 rated recruit last year by many publications, Bryce Brown. There you see some of the athleticism flying over the top of the pile. You just had a sense that he's going to touch the ball a whole lot tonight.
Best high school running back to come out of Wichita, Kansas, since Heisman Trophy Award winner Barry Sanders. Touchdown number 3 on the year for the freshman Brown.
You're going to see the 2 twin brothers. Cody Solon's the center, 66. Corey Solon's his brother, left guard, 69. And the rest of that offensive line just push that line of scrimmage. Anytime you're inside the 3-yard line, you can tell who's going to win by that movement you get up front. And that's a win by Tennessee.
2 head coaches in this game coming from different perspectives. The youngster Lane Kiffin, a lot of excitement here in Knoxville, and this is his first season with the Volunteers. He'll be matching wits with Tommy West, who's having a little bit of trouble in Memphis. This is now his 9th season, looking for his 50th win with the Tigers. He's had good success in recent years. Been to bowl games in 5 of the last 6 seasons, but Tommy West has been under fire for this year's club, just 2-6 in their first 8 games.
And I like what he said. He said, over my 9 years here in Memphis, I was able to fix things. It didn't always go smoothly to start the year, but as a coaching staff, we could tweak, we could move guys around, we could fix the problems. They've just been unable to do so. Every time they put their finger to fix that leak, another leak pops up somewhere else. Just
Volunteer played 3 years here in the early 70s. Was a fantastic tight end. Also served as a GA here and an assistant coach back in the early 90s. Kickoff from Chad Cunningham. Starting at the 3 is Chris Hobbs. Senior transfer from Stanford gets out to the 24-yard line. A return of 21 yards for Hobbs. Here comes 6th-year senior Will Hudgens, the quarterback.
And you will not find a more unique story starting at quarterback. That coach on the field, he's been productive over the last 3 weeks.
Next to him in the backfield, number 26, Curtis Steele. Snap goes high, and and Hutchins has to jump on it. Tough start for the Memphis Tigers. The snap by the center, Brad Paul, sails high, and it's going to be a big-time loss.
You saw the kickoff return on the other side here. A snap a little bit hot. That's a play. It looked like Will Hudgens' eyes were just downfield when the ball was snapped back to him. That's a play that he's got to make. Not getting it done in special teams, not getting it done starting out early here offensively.
Loss of 12. Now they hand it off to Steele. Steele, a 1,000-yard rusher a season ago with the Memphis Tigers, picks up a pair.
And Duke Calhoun, you will see emotional leadership. There's even more miss in his physical play.
See how frisky they get on third down at 20. Pressure in the face of Hudgens, and he just throws it at the feet of his back, Curtis Steele. Chris Walker was in on the pressure, and that's a good sight to see if you're a Volunteer fan. Walker didn't play in last week's game against South Carolina, but healthy enough to give it a go tonight.
Leads the team in sacks with 4, had a sore back. Felt like he was going to play tonight. A guy that grew up in Memphis, was excited for this opportunity, and exactly the defensive ends that Monty Kiffin had for all those years at Tampa Bay. Think Simeon Rice and the explosiveness off the ball. Chris Walker, by far the most explosive pass rusher for the Volunteers.
Knoxville native Matt Reagan will punt it out of his own end zone. Senior Reagan grew up a Volunteer fan, now playing for the Tigers. Kicks it away to Dennis Rogan, who calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 45-yard line. A punt of 41 yards, no return. Chance to catch our breath. 7-0 Volunteers. They'll have the ball when we come back. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by Citi. Citi never sleeps. Here's a good look at the Peyton Manning locker room here at Neyland Stadium. Peyton Manning still very much in touch with his alma mater.
Peyton Manning Road, I believe 16 miles an hour on campus. Just a tremendous leader, comes back every year as a scholarship in his name that he funds. Can't imagine a better face for your locker room. Comes back and works out with these kids every summer. His leadership, not just in Indianapolis, still extending to Knoxville.
Second possession offensively for the Volunteers. Jonathan Crompton under center, play fake. Wants a bunch. Throws it down the middle of the field, incomplete. Looking for the tight end, Luke Stocker. Good defense off.
That's a shot play, the deep overpass off of play action. At the time, Hughes does a nice job as a linebacker getting back underneath that route.
Lane Kiffin has been very happy with the progression of Jonathan Crompton. He's run out of time. Fifth-year senior. He's finally figured it out. The last 4 games, he has been playing much improved football. Wants to throw again. Uses that big arm. Tries to squeeze it to Denarius Moore. And the pass is incomplete, but there's a flag down.
Crompton, you'd love to see those fifth-year seniors, and especially the guys that have been under fire for much of their career, as Jonathan has, to come into his own. It really started with the Georgia game. 20 of 27, well over 300 yards. That's been the difference. Growing in confidence, growing in belief in those plays that Lane Kiffin's dialing up.
Another pass attempt, right side. Caught. Quentin Hancock with the grab inside the 10. Pickup of 33 yards, and the Volunteers are moving again.
And this is just a double move outside. Felt like those Memphis corners were squatting a little bit. You see Deontay Lamar there get flat-footed. And I really like the throw here. Keep it in bounds. Let your guy go run under and make a play. That's the kind of confidence and the swagger right now that Jonathan Crompton's playing with.
Hancock just rounding back into form. He's been dealing with a jaw issue, a foot injury. Didn't even play a week ago against South Carolina. But a big catch of 33 yards. Second time in the first 5 minutes of this ball game. Tennessee knocking on the door inside the 10 as flags fly before that ball is snapped.
A lot of his quarterbacks out at the walkthrough yesterday, very much as I said earlier, pro-style system. That vocabulary is long. Jonathan's had to learn 5 systems in his tenure here at Tennessee, and a lot on that quarterback in the run game as well. That time checking to the run play just took a little too much time.
Wants to throw. It's a slant. It's a touchdown. Moore with the touchdown. There's a flag down on the field.
Engaged enough to make that call.
Memphis Tigers will take it. It's 1st and goal now. Ball on the 27-yard line. They choose to run it with Hardesty. Hardesty changes directions. Gets down to the 16-yard line. A pickup of 10.
And you can see every time they've run the ball tonight, that push up front. When you're a zone run team, you want to get those linemen, those linebackers moving laterally and allow your backs to plant their foot and have that vision to cut back. You saw it earlier with Hardesty on his 14-yard run. Once again, planting that foot in the ground, getting good movement up front, getting chunks of yards.
Fullback, Austin Johnson in motion. Compton wants to throw. Quick hitter, touchdown! Gerald Jones! The penalty delayed him a moment, but give him 6 more. Gerald Jones, touchdown number 4 on the year.
And you're going to see Jones. He's right in the middle there, in the slot right here, and he's going to just run up the seam. And when you motion that fullback out, you confuse the defense. You can see the secondary looking at Austin Johnson, the fullback, and they allow Gerald Jones to run right by them down the seam.
Daniel Lincoln, who missed last game with an injury, makes the extra point. Less than 6 minutes into this game, already 2 touchdowns on the board for the Volunteers. They lead 14-0 over Memphis. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Welcome back, everyone. Neyland Stadium here in Knoxville, Tennessee. A great start for the locals. Gerald Jones, a touchdown from 17 yards out just moments ago. And Tennessee on top of Memphis by 14.
And you're going to see teams do this down in the red zone. This is the fullback, Austin Johnson. He's going to motion out, and watch the impact it will have on these 2 defenders. Just watch their heads, watch their eyes as that motion extends out. They take their vision off of Gerald Jones just for a second, and that's the difference. That allows the lane to open up, and Jonathan Crompton delivering on time.
Onside kick. Recovered by Tennessee. There's a flag down on the field. I think they may have jumped off sides. What a surprising call there. Already up 14-0. Trying the onside kick. It worked. Art Evans has the football. But a flag down immediately where the ball was teed up.
And Tommy West said he had to be the aggressor for Memphis. Nothing to lose. Going to cut it loose. Going to see trick plays all over the field. And Lane Kiffin beat him to the punch. The tailback pass earlier, and here an onside kick. I think it will be offsides on Tennessee.
This is Chad Cunningham kicking it off this time. It is a short bouncer fielded by Chris Hobbs. And Hobbs crosses the 30 and is pelted down at the 32, a return of 20 yards. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues on ESPNU later tonight. Will Hudgens back on the field for the Memphis Tigers. Trying to do better than the last time they had the football when they went backwards. Handoff, Steele has the football, bounces off a couple would-be tacklers, and picks up 5 yards on first down. Dennis Rogan, 9 years young. He has still got some friskiness to him.
Amazing to watch it walk through yesterday. Still screaming and yelling, still running through every drill. Loves this game of football.
Looks like the blitz may be on. They bluff it. Hutchins wants to throw. Slant. Caught. Calhoun, his first grab. Catch number 50. Another quick pitch and catch. This time it's Singleton. And Singleton wrestled down. Singleton, the big fella at 6'9", with his first grab.
Monty Kiffin yesterday, what a joy to talk football with. And I love what Lane said about him. He said, you know, he's a prisoner to this game. I tried to send him home in July to Tampa Bay to get away from it. And what does he do? He gets into the Buccaneers room. He gets film sent to him, still studying the value. He can't take a break from the game he loves.
Second down and 5. Steele has the football. And Steele is brought down from behind. Wes Brown and others combine on the tackle for this Volunteer club.
With a lot of injuries, too, Eric. On your third middle linebacker, your top 2 middle linebackers are out. You're starting a redshirt freshman in Herman Lathers tonight. You're also starting a redshirt freshman in Prentice Wagner. At the free safety position, had moving pieces, yet this group is growing and growing in confidence and belief in the system.
And before the snap, there's a whistle stopping play.
Timeout.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. First quarter action from Neyland Stadium. There's a new safety starting today's ball game for the Tennessee Volunteers. That's Prentice Wagner. He's replacing Jansen Jackson, true freshman from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Jackson will not play today. No reason given by Lane Kiffin. And a sack. Chris Walker again getting that great pressure. A loss of 6 yards on 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, Tommy West said he's going to move Will Hudgens tonight. He's got to get him out of the pocket. The problem, look at the closing speed of Chris Walker. No sore back this week. Had an excellent week of practice. Was ramped up to play his hometown team. And already in this first quarter making impact plays defensively.
Walker was untouched running past the left tackle Ronald Leary and picking up his 5th sack of the season. Matt Reagan, not only the place kicker but also the punter, tries to get it to stop inside the 5 and scoops into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Tennessee will start on the 20-yard line. .6:22 remaining. First quarter. Tennessee has scored touchdowns. The first 2 times they've had the ball. We'll have it for time number 3 when we come back.
It seems no.
Welcome back, everyone, to Knoxville. There's a shot of Cumberland Avenue. Kind of right there, smack dab in the middle of campus. Tennessee on top of Memphis here at homecoming by a score of 14-0. Lane Kiffin in his first season as a college head coach. Remember, spent about a year and a half in the NFL with the Raiders. So far this season, they played really well against #1 ranked teams. They came close to beating both Florida and Alabama. But they haven't won back-to-back games. Don't blame the defense. The defense has been close to lights out over the last 3 weeks. 4 wins, 4 losses for the Volunteers. They were winners a week ago against South Carolina. Crompton wants to throw on 1st down. Plenty of time. Has a man. Complete once again to Gerald Jones. Jones a touchdown a moment ago. This time picks up 24 yards.
And that's a staple in this system. It's a Norm Chow system that Lane Kiffin learned a lot of his football at USC. They run the slant and go to the field and then up the boundary, yet another seam route. Crompton does a nice job pump faking the slant and go and bringing his eyes and his feet right back up the seam.
Flags before the... So it moves him back 5 yards. 1st and 15. Crompton hands it off. Bryce Brown. And Brown upended after a short gain. Stop made by Jamon Hughes, the transfer from Mississippi State.
Doesn't look like a freshman, does he? Just look at Bryce Brown. Is there anything that tells you true freshman? 6'1", 215. Look at the strength in the upper body, the legs, and a lot of maturity. That's what Lane said. Walked right onto this campus and was not for one day, and maturity-wise, a true freshman.
Well, his first game, rushed for over 100 yards. Quentin Hancock, second grab of the ball game, picks up 7 yards. Tackled by Brian Wright. Down in 3. I need to correct myself. They're not the UMass Lowell Devils.
Of course not.
They're the Riverhawks.
How do you not know that?
Rookie mistake on my part. 3rd down and 3. The give goes to Hardesty. And Hardesty is stopped at the 50-yard line. He's not going to get it. Good team.
Tonight, and the way the defense is playing, that Lane Kiffin was not going to go for this on 4th and 3.
Yeah, they're looking to insert that dagger early in this ballgame. Very aggressive here in this first quarter. Play fake. Crompton wants to throw. Caught. First down, Tennessee. Denarius Moore picks up 12 on 4th down.
There's some more of that movement that Lane talked about. He's blown away at how well Jonathan could throw on the run, both to his right and to his left. That's not an easy throw with a defender bearing down on you. That deep comeback, Moore does a nice job of continuing to come back to the throw, and Crompton delivers on 4th down.
Good start to the day for Crompton. Play fake, again to the skies, incomplete. Well, for Crompton, with those 100 yards passing, he has now done something significant. He now has 3,104 all-time passing yards. He has moved into 13th place all-time, and he passed a very significant name in the history of Tennessee football. None other than Condridge Holloway. Condridge Holloway was the first African-American quarterback in the SEC, early 70s. He is still a part of this program. He has just moved down a peg because Crompton leapfrogged him. 2nd down and 10. Pick up Ankilo. Almost like watching those left-handed throwing quarterbacks. Those are my favorite quarterbacks, huh, Brock? They just look so natural. 3rd down and 7 for Tennessee. Pitch out, Hardesty, left side. Trying to get to the marker. Keeps those legs moving. He's going to be a little bit short. Frank Trotter on the tackle, a pickup of 5. UT royalty in the building. Condridge Holloway. He is part of this football staff here. A great quarterback in the early 70s. Actually, when he was the quarterback, his tight end was none other than Tommy West. They played together for a couple of years, went to bowl games. Great success. 4th down and 2. Second time this drive, Volunteers going to go for it. Give to Hardesty. Hitting the backfield, not going to get it. So the Tigers have the football back. 3rd time with the football. They've had to punt both times. Hudgens, quick pitch and catch to Duke Calhoun, trying to get him in space. And Calhoun spun out of bounds after a pickup of 7, maybe 8. Eric Berry is just a junior. He is the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Won it as a sophomore. Quick snap. TJ Pitts, his first carry. Gets the first down for Memphis. 3 receivers in the game. They hand it off on 1st down. Pitts able to get back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe picks up a yard.
Clay Helton, the offensive coordinator, you could hear just in our production meeting the respect that he has for Monty Kiffin.
2nd and 9. Complete. Marcus Rucker, his first grab, gets out to the 45. He was going east and west when he should have been going north and south. Picks up just a pair.
Clay Helton said there's so much success at the NFL level. They disguise everything. Many of the same principles that Monty brought and taught day in and day out to the Derek Brooks and the John Lynches, he's starting to establish here at Tennessee. And these guys are starting to get it now, starting to understand, enabling them to play a little bit faster, and that productivity defensively is shot way up.
15 minutes in the books. When we come back, quarter number 2. The Volunteers hoping the second quarter goes as well as the first quarter did. They dominated offensively and defensively. They lead Memphis 14-0. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. The first quarter belonging to the Tennessee Volunteers. They lead Memphis 14-0. There have been some really close games in recent history between these two clubs. 1999, T. Martin finding Cedric Wilson for a touchdown. That was just a 1-point win for the Volunteers over the Tigers. Following year, Tennessee, they'd need a game-winning field goal as time expired to win by 2. And then in 2005, Maurice Avery, a touchdown for Memphis. that would put them on top. But the Volunteers, another late field goal. Phil Fulmer's bunch, they win by 4 over Tommy West's team. Tennessee has only lost once in 21 previous meetings, but the last 9 games, fairly close. Third down at 7. Memphis with the football, trying to keep that offense on the field. Bill Hutchins, 6th-year senior, out of the shotgun. Swarmed and brought down. Took a while, but Wes Brown finally got him. Second sack for that Tennessee defense, a loss of 10.
That's trouble for Memphis. 4-man rush from Tennessee. Your 5 up front. Watch the pocket collapse around Will Hudgens. Just a 4-man rush. Tennessee drops 7 into coverage. But as a quarterback, you can feel those defensive ends closing in on you and that pressure up the gut. No chance for Will Hudgens.
So on 4th down, the punt team comes on. 3rd time that Matt Reagan has had to punt the football away. The pride of Bearden High School here in Knoxville has a kick sail out of bounds. Inside the 30-yard line at the 26. That's where Tennessee will start on offense. Let's go back to the studio for another update. Lowell, what do you have?
Well, this highlight.
Those Houston Cougars end up in the polls on Monday. Tune in to Inside the Polls on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPNU HD. And where everyone is located is we kind of get down to a real interesting part of the season. November is when everything is decided in the college football landscape. Those Houston Cougars.
Is Case Keenum getting into that Heisman conversation at some point with his production offensively?
Hardesty with the carry. Case Keenum would not be the first Houston Cougar to win that Heisman Trophy. It was 20 years. 3rd down and 2. Hardesty uses that spin to get out to the 35-yard line, but he's going to be short. He's going to be short of the 1st down marker. There's no chance that Tennessee would go for it on this 4th down, would they? I think they are. Why not?
And I think even the hometown faithful right now just moving around in their seats a little bit. You can understand it in midfield. Now all the way backed up to your own 35, and that's a long yard to go.
This has been the MO of Lane Kiffin so far this season. He's frequently gone for it on 4th down, but this is deep in his own territory. Hardesty makes it pay off. Gets out to the 40-yard line. Hughes with the tackle, but a pickup of 5 and the chains will move.
And Charlie Bryant's big defensive tackle doing all he can to try to get into that backfield, but that's a statement. That's Lane Kiffin saying we are the SEC. We're much more big and physical up front. We're going to line up, run downhill, and trust our 215-pound back to break a tackle. Is exactly what Hardesty does to get the 1st down.
So the 14-point lead. Lane Kiffin takes a calculated risk, and it pays off. Bryce Brown now replaces Hardesty in the backfield. Play fake to him. Crompton with time. Looking deep. Caught. Gerald Jones, another big gainer.
You see the shrug right there. I love that body language from your quarterback. The little shrug to say, you know what? I know he's covered, coach. And on film, that may not look like a great decision, but I'm going to believe that Gerald Jones is going to come down with this ball. I'm going to put some air on it up top. Nice play action fake. And there is a corner in coverage, but I believe that Gerald's going to go up and make a play, and that's exactly what he does.
In between a couple of defenders. The ball is squeezed in perfectly. Crompton wants to throw again. In the slot. Touchdown! Luke Stocker! Too easy for Crompton and the Volunteers. 23 yards out. They lead by 3 touchdowns.
How many times tonight have I said seam route to you? Jonathan Crompton, same concept. Different formation, different personnel group. You look to that slant and go. You take that safety out of the middle of the field, and you allow, whether it's your slot receiver, whether it's your big tight end, to get down the seam. Accuracy, timing, precision, confidence. Jonathan Crompton, this offense right now, has got it all rolling.
Somewhere Jason Witten smiling. Luke Stocker doing his best Jason Witten impersonation. Didn't have a huge jump on his defender, but makes a heck of a grab. 21-0 Volunteers. Welcome back to ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by City, ESPN, and ESPNU salutes all of our veterans. On behalf of the ESPN family of networks, we thank you for your services. 21-0 is the lead for Tennessee. Trying to win consecutive games for the first time this season. Kickoff is a short one. On the run, this is Chris Hobbs, who blasted at the 25-yard line. And does the ball come loose? It does. It's Tennessee football. Oh, what else can go wrong for Tommy West's team?
The short kick, that wedge directly in front, but even more special team struggles. Not just the inability to cover kicks. That time, Chris Hobbs, the transfer from Stanford, unable to secure the ball. Tennessee taking advantage.
It was Shane Revesz who knocked the football out. Revesz, the brother of the middle linebacker, Nick Revesz, who is currently out for the season. But Revesz still making his presence felt, forces the football out and giving Jonathan Crompton another opportunity. That pass incomplete, 2nd and 10.
And right now, it's just 7-on-7 passing for Jonathan Crompton. No pressure, that pocket. The guys up front not only getting pushed in the run game, doing a nice job in protection. There's a good shot. You could see his brother, the starting middle linebacker. That was middle linebacker number 1 that went out this season. Savion Frazier last week tore his ACL. Middle linebacker number 2, and that's why Herman Lathers got the start tonight.
Bryce Brown with the carry, and Brown into the secondary, down to the 14-yard line. A pickup of 11. Let's get an update on Ole Miss. Lowell, what's going on? And Lumberjacks are up against it, against an angry Ole Miss team. Get caught up on all your college sports action with SportsCenter U tonight at 1:30 in the morning on ESPNU HD. You can also catch us all morning on Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Fresh set of downs, spitting it out in the flat. Hardesty has the football pushed out of bounds after a pickup of 2.
Lots of different formations, lots of different personnel groups, guys motioning out of the backfield. Exactly what we saw in the walkthrough yesterday. Lane Kiffin said, I'm treating these guys like professionals. Frankly, it's why 13 have left the program. They were unable to live up to the standards of being a professional, but the guys that have stuck around are starting to really love this game, love the way we treat them, enjoying the system on both sides and really flourishing in it.
Hardesty with the football. Down to the 9.
And everything. Our production meeting yesterday was like a professional production meeting. The order and the discipline of Lane and his staff. You go out to walk through. You see the energy of the coaches teaching and reteaching again. They had a lot to implement. That's why he felt like this crew has really gained speed in the second half, because everybody's starting to understand the way he's going to run this program.
3rd down at 4. Hardesty is going to have the first down. Tackle made by Alton Starr. It's going to be a 1st and goal for the Volunteers. Already 21-0. And after the turnover on the kickoff, Tennessee knocking on that door. Crompton left side, too easy. Touchdown, Quentin Hancock. Crompton just feasting on these defensive backs.
It really, it's the guys up front. When you can play that position Unlike the Alabama game, unlike the Florida game where he got beat up a whole lot more, when you can sit back there and get to your second read, your third read, as he's been able to do tonight, just makes that job much, much too easy. And Memphis right now has no answers defensively.
Low line drive, extra point, just barely squeaks over. So Crompton already with 3 touchdown passes. He's got 19 touchdown tosses on the year. Under 9 minutes to play, second quarter. It's been all Volunteers. 28-0. You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
Black boots.
I think Urban Meyer, he's done a lot of great things. I think he's figured out what's good and what's no longer good to say. I don't think we're going to be hearing too much from Urban Meyer the rest of the year talking about the officials here in the SEC. Lane Kiffin, 34-year-old Wunderkind, guy who is the youngest head coach in Division 1A football. He's got a 28-0 lead over the Memphis Tigers. Kickoff is short. Marcus Ball. This is Marcus Hightower. Pounded down at the 25-yard line. If you're just joining us, let's take a look at these scores. There have been 4 touchdowns early in this one. Bryce Brown going over the top, and then 3 touchdown tosses. The first one, Gerald Jones. No, this was Luke Stockard. And most recently, a touchdown toss to Quentin Hancock, 4 yards out. Jonathan Crompton has been close to flawless, 11 for 15, bordering on 200 yards, 3 touchdown throws. Inside handoff, Duke Calhoun tries the left side. Calhoun breaks the first tackle, but can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Good team defense played by Tennessee.
You know, it's really great to see for Jonathan Crompton, a guy that's been through the ringer here in Tennessee. And Lane was very honest. He said, listen, I told everybody from the beginning, it's not Jonathan Crompton. The struggles we had as an offense early was freshman receivers. Guys weren't in there. Guys were running the wrong route. But everybody always wants to blame the quarterback. Lane's had a lot of confidence in Crompton. He was his number 2 guy out of high school behind Mark Sanchez at USC. He's liked his skill set. And I think everybody is seeing him grow in confidence, and the people around him get better and better week in and week out.
Sidearm throw a little bit too high for Carlos Singleton. When it's too high for Carlos Singleton, it's saying something. Singleton is 6 feet 9 inches tall. Now, so far, so good for Tennessee. They've limited to Memphis to just 15 offensive plays and 14 total yards. They forced a turnover. While Tennessee, the Volunteers, have scored touchdowns on 4 of their first 5 drives. This is the 22nd meeting between these two schools, located close to 400 yards, 400 miles apart here in the state of Tennessee. This series has been dominated by the Volunteers. They've lost just 1 time. Trying to squeeze the pass into Duke Calhoun. It's knocked away by Dennis Rogan.
And a tale of 2 very different nights for the quarterback. Will Hudgens with just 4 men again. Tennessee rushing is getting pressure, collapsing that pocket around him. On the other side, Jonathan Crompton, has he been touched tonight? Has he been hit to the ground? Has been very, very comfortable. Tennessee stretching the field both vertically and horizontally, and Memphis and Will just unable to connect versus those 7 zone defenders that Monty Kiffin continues to drop.
Matt Reagan has been the busiest man here in Knoxville. They'll have to punt it away. Dennis Rogan is back deep. He's replaced Nukese Richardson. He's had a hard time holding on to the football. Fair catch called for it. Rogan can't hang on. It's loose. It looks like it's going to be Memphis football. There also is a flag down where Matt Reagan punted it away. He was run in. He's down on the punt cover team, and he jumps on the loose football. So the turnover battle tied at 1. Wildcat formation, direct snap, Curtis Steele busts out down to the 20-yard line, maybe down to the 19, a pickup of 7 yards on first down.
And if you're going to slow down this run.
Again, Wildcat formation. Steele takes the direct snap and can't break free. Herman Lathers, redshirt freshman, on the stop. Lathers is the man starting in place of Savion Frazier as the middle backer.
A nice job. He reads his guard. That's what these linebackers are taught day in and day out. Find your key, read your key, and then don't wait, don't hesitate. Explode into that gap, explode into that hole. You see the youngster, a nice job of it, trusting his key coming downhill.
Memphis hasn't converted a third down so far today. 0 for 4. It's maybe 4-down territory. Hudgens back in the game, wants to throw. Picked off by Eric Berry. Berry still on his feet. This is where he excels. And he's knocked down. Not a great return for one of the greatest interception returners of all time, but Tennessee will take it. They've got the football.
Everybody was wondering about Eric Berry. 5 interceptions as a freshman, 7 last year, just 1 this season. Well, he's been in the box a lot more. He's been your strong safety, not in center field as much. Tonight you're seeing more base defense. You're seeing a front 7 and a front 4 in particular get pressure. Now you allow Berry to do what he does best. Play that deep half, play that deep middle field, make plays on the football. And no one better. What now? Just 12 yards away from Terrell Buckley's all-time record in interception return yards.
Ontario Hardesty, very patient on that run, gets out close to the 20-yard line, gains 7 on first down.
A recipe for disaster, Eric. You're not converting on third down. You're turning the ball over in special teams. You're giving up big plays in special teams. You create a turnover near the red zone, and you can't even capitalize with points. Exactly why Memphis is down 28-0 at this point.
Second down and 3. Play fake. Prompted again. With time. This time brought down from behind by Josh Weaver. When we were talking to Monty Kiffin yesterday about his great defensive back, Eric Berry, he said in his defense, it's more important, more difficult to find a game-changing safety than a shutdown cornerback.
And largely due to the versatility. When you can find a safety that can come down, like a John Lynch, and tackle, and that same safety, Eric, can come down and cover man-to-man, can come down and have that skill set. That's what makes him so unique.
Underneath, caught by Stocker. And Stocker is going to be close to the first down marker. I think he's got enough. Yeah, Monty Kiffin believes that Eric Berry would be an All-American quarterback. He's got that type of skill set. He's got those loose hips you need out of a cornerback. But in his defense, it's more important to plug him in there at one of the safety spots than to have him on the corner.
And why he'll be a high draft pick in the NFL when you can do that, when you don't have to substitute that guy out, when you can disguise. And so often in the NFL game, they walk a safety down. Which safety is going to come down? Who's going to come in the box to be the tackler? Who's the guy that's going to cover? Eric Berry makes that so difficult because he's capable of doing both at such a high level.
Trick play. Gerald Jones wants to throw the football, and he throws it short and incomplete.
And he's one of those guys, even in walkthrough yesterday, you see the shirt and the shorts, and you can tell instantly he's a playmaker. And Monty Kiffin would have loved to have him in the pro game, is raving about him. Everybody that comes through the door here at Knoxville, all these scouts, is he the real deal? And you think when Monty Kiffin tells you this kid can play,
I think they're going to believe
statement carries a little bit more weight.
Second down and 10. Pitch out right side to Hardesty. Pushed out of bounds after a gain of 5 to bring up third down.
And along those lines, think about Monty Kiffin getting out and recruiting. It's another conversation that I found very fruitful yesterday, is the joy that he's had in recruiting. And Monty Kiffin going into these high schools and getting into and meeting these kids and talking football with them. And last year, in just a month's time, they were able to grab a Bryce Brown. They were able to grab a Nuquise Richardson, able to grab some of these pieces, some of this talent. This coaching staff doing a wonderful job of molding them.
Caught. Another first down for the Volunteers. Moore out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Pickup of 12.
Yeah, it's a very easy game of pitch and catch when you have that much separation between you as a quarterback and those guys up front. And I talked about 7-on-7 earlier. That's the drill you do in practice. You eliminate the offense and defensive lines. You try to build that continuity with your receivers and all that timing. That's really what it's been tonight for Jonathan Crompton. A clean uniform. Other than that sack, not hit much tonight. Just in great rhythm.
Fullback Johnson in motion. Crompton wants to throw on first down. They move the pocket. It's complete. Newkeith Richardson, his first touch. And he barrels across the 50-yard line down to the 42. A pickup of 16 for the true freshman from Pahokee, Florida.
It's a very simple concept. A little hitch route outside. The hitch in the corner inside. On the run once again to his left. Jonathan showing his capabilities of throwing and moving the pocket. A little separate, a little bit more pronounced new cheer for Newkeith Richardson, a kid that's had a tough week, a kid that got a little homesick, kid that wasn't real happy about some of his production this season. Lane Kiffin said it's fine, it's water under the bridge, and he'll have a chance in the remaining 30 minutes of this game to make some plays.
The tight end again, Stocker over the middle, gets down to the 15. Crompton's got a great relationship with his tight end, Stocker. They pick up 29.
Talk about some of the talent of Eric Berry on the other side. Lane Kiffin told us Luke Stocker's a first-round type of talent at tight end, 6'6", and you see how fluid and how easily he gets down the field and his ability to use his hands. Oftentimes you see those big tight ends, number one, they can't run that well down the seam, and number two, their inability to use the hands. Luke Stocker showing his full repertoire and talent on that play.
On first down, Crompton wants to throw. Again to the end zone. Touchdown! Newkeith Richardson, his first score as a collegiate. Everyone feeling good about themselves, wearing the orange of Tennessee. 5 touchdowns. They lead 34-0 pending the extra point with just a whisker over 2 minutes to play in the first half.
And all 4 touchdowns tonight from Crompton to 4 different receivers, spreading the wealth.
Lincoln, right down Main Street. What a first half for Jonathan Crompton. He has now got 20 touchdown passes on the year. This one to Newkeith Richardson, 35-0. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. 35-0. Tennessee on top of Memphis. 2:19 remaining here in the first half. Jonathan Crompton hooking up with Newkeith Richardson for a 14-yard score. Newkeith Richardson, his first college touchdown. And, geez, man, Jonathan Crompton making it look easy.
Yeah, 16 to 21, over 250 yards. Just watch his mechanics at the end of his drop here, Eric. Look at, you take one hitch and the ball is out. That's exactly what Lane Kiffin wants to see from his quarterback. That's when you're playing with anticipation and timing, what this system is all built on. Throw it accurately, get into a rhythm. That is a perfect shot there of some of the fundamentals of rhythm passing. One hitch and the ball is out.
Short kick, bobbled at the 9-yard line. Hightower, nowhere to go. He swarmed at the 12-yard line. A little over 2 minutes remaining here in the first half for a preview of what's coming up at halftime. Let's go to Lowell. What do you have in your saddlebags?
Well, basically,
Thank you, Lowell. Appreciate it. Job at best. I hope everything's okay with him. He has just got so much talent. Maybe the fastest player on the Pac-10. He is just electric with the football.
Block these 4 guys so you can give your quarterback a chance.
Delayed handoff, Curtis Steele, wrapped up after a pickup of a yard.
And Lane Kiffin's going to take a timeout here.
Wow.
Well, when you're in rhythm offensively, Eric, and you've got it going, you've got a quarterback that's dealing the way Crompton is, you want to get him the ball back. You don't care if it's 14, 21, 35. It's the first half. I don't mind that one bit.
College hockey coming your way tomorrow.
59-0, that's a different story. This is the first half. You haven't even played 30 minutes of football. You want to get the ball back offensively and continue To throttle Memphis. That's what
does Tommy West feel the same way?
Sure he does. He knows.
He has no problem calling a timeout against him when he's down 35-0.
Not at this point. You can't in the first half.
Hudgens, plenty of time. And a flag comes down. Looked like there was contact.
Leave the ball to begin the first half. They're going to have to kick off. Another reason that Lane wanted to get the ball back and call that timeout.
Hudgens has a man. It's Calhoun. And Calhoun is going to be close to the first down marker. I think he's got it. Pickup of 10 on first down. Memphis with a couple of timeouts. Line. Inside handoff. Steele showing some good escapability. Still on his feet. Out to the 50-yard line. Best off
to make a play.
Quickly. Out in the flat, Cam Baker, his first catch. And Baker is down at the 36-yard line. A gain of 15. Baker went out of bounds, so the clock has stopped. Hudgens with time. Incomplete for his career. Just a junior. Hudgens pitches it out. Hightower in space. Hightower. Touchdown, Memphis. There's life still yet.
Try to find a way to slow Tennessee down.
Short kick. This is Richardson out to the 26-yard line. Paulo Henriquez will kick it off from the 25-yard line. A little pooch. Fielded by the up back at the 35-yard line. And gets out to the 45.
Struggle in special teams, and you're having a tough time playing defense tonight. You just can't afford to give Compton and Tennessee the ball at the 45-yard line.
So let's see how aggressive Tennessee will be here. Already up by 28, 47 seconds remaining in the half. Volunteers have a couple of timeouts. Compton sets up a screen. Middle screen. With a big fella, Hardesty, who gets to the 42-yard line. A gain of 13. Clock will stop temporarily. Clock moving again. And Compton has his pass fall in and out of the hands of Quentin Hancock. It's probably for the best. Two most noticeably against Alabama a couple of weeks ago. Off the toe of Daniel Lincoln. Compton underneath. Caught by Bryce Brown. And Brown out to the 22-yard line. Clock will stop temporarily. Pickup of 20. Volunteers haven't called timeout yet. Now they do.
Stretch to continue building really this momentum over the last 3 weeks.
Put those 3 seconds back on the clock. So 18 seconds at the beginning of this play. And getting inside the 5, down to the 1 is Gerald Jones. Tough running for the junior from Oklahoma City. And now the Volunteers don't want to burn a timeout. Looks like Compton wants to spike the football. Nope, Compton wants to take it himself, and he scores the touchdown. Sixth touchdown of the first half for the Volunteers.
Yeah, not the effort you want to see if you're Memphis. You come down the field, you have your best drive offensively, you find a way to score points. Again, your special teams shoot you in the foot, allow Tennessee the ball at the 45, and not a lot of life on that drive. Tommy West left shaking his head by that defensive effort to close out the first half.
Lincoln has been perfect on extra points. He is now 6 for 6. Here in the first half. Lead swells back up to 35 for the Volunteers.
Yeah, just much too easy tonight in this first half for Jonathan Compton. Lots of space in the field, just a shallow cross here. And look at the time. Look at the pocket that Crompton has. Actually, a very nice move there. They call that an option route by Gerald Jones. You're trying to sell to that linebacker and get him flat-footed. And then Crompton, the savvy fifth-year senior, getting his guys lined up, seeing a hole and taking advantage.
So Crompton has accounted for 5 touchdowns here in this first half. He's thrown for 4. And now he runs one in from a yard out. And the Volunteers, with those 42 first half points, most they've scored so far this season. They've had the football 7 times, and they've scored 7 on 6 occasions.
And this group up front, I think, is a little bit underrated within the SEC. Chris Scott, the left tackle, the big fella, number 79, and chatting with Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, he felt like there wasn't anybody better in the conference right now at left tackle than Chris Scott. You have a redshirt senior. I talked about the 2 twins, the 2 Solons brothers. You've also seen tonight Vladimir Richard, number 51, get involved. A veteran savvy group up front that's gotten better and better as this season's progressed.
Curtis Johnson will return it for the first time. Johnson looking for space, gets out to the 35. Final play of the first half. All smiles for the Tennessee Volunteers and their fans. 42-7 as we played 30 minutes. Halftime here in Knoxville. Let's send you back to the studio where Lowell Galindo will take it away.
And welcome into this meeting of the Jonathan Crompton Fan Club. I'm your Vice President, Lowell Galindo, here with the President of the club, former Georgia standout, Davey Pollock. You love the guy. I know you do.
I tell you what, he has made huge strides. You got to be a fan. Look at that. 6 of their first 7 drives, they scored touchdowns. They couldn't score 6 touchdowns in 6 games last year.
But everybody talking about what went down in the SEC West, and that's what we're going to talk about right now, because bring them back down 7 with a minute left to play. 4th and 20. Ball game. That's how it ends. Only the second time in school history the Irish have lost 2 in a row to Navy in South Bend. Within Crompton, is there anything he cannot do? 4 touchdowns through the air, 5 total, 19 of 24, 305 yards. Dude's a stud. Home stretch.
Well, I mean, you got to love what Tennessee's doing. As much as you might not like Lane Kiffin and his antics, I tell you what, it's working, because you can tell his team believes in him. This offense is cooking. This pro-style offense, this new innovative offense that they brought in, seems to be working.
What do you mean, don't like Lane Kiffin and his antics? We have a Tennessee audience with us right now. They love Lane Kiffin.
Memphis' people don't.
Hey, he's made Jonathan Crompton legit. Crompton connecting with 7 different receivers, 4 different ones for touchdowns, 42-7 at the half.
Nothing says love.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. ESPNU College Football Primetime presented by Citi. It has been all Tennessee here on homecoming at Neyland Stadium. 42-7, they are on top of Memphis. A huge reason why has been the play of their 5th-year senior quarterback, Jonathan Crompton. He was magnificent in the first 30 minutes.
And you've seen him over the last 4 weeks. We talked about that in the opening. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 4 more tonight. Just getting in rhythm. And the guys around him playing faster. We talk about these seam routes. When you're playing a team like Memphis, who plays as much single safety in the middle of the field, you want to take advantage of those seams, and you got to hit them on time, and Jonathan did. And this is this concept. This is a slant and go, a seam and a hitch on the other side. 2-3 times in that first half. Effective for Tennessee. Lots of options. If he's open on the slant and go, you throw it deep. If not, you come right back to that seam route And the thing that stands out, that jumps out in the first half, is how many times Crompton hit that back foot and the ball came out. It came out on time, it came out on rhythm, and it came out with tremendous accuracy.
Look at those numbers. Already a 300-yard day for Crompton. He was only incomplete 5 times in 24 tosses. He's got 4 passing touchdowns. He's now got 20 of those on the year, and he also rushed one in for touchdown. Put those 4 touchdowns in perspective. He had 4 touchdown passes all of last year. The senior coming into this campaign had 9 career touchdown passes. He had 4 in 30 minutes. On the return, Marcus Hightower gets out to the 30-yard line. That was a surprise because Tennessee was actually kicking it off close to the 50-yard line. There was a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Memphis as both teams headed to the locker room. So Tennessee had a great opportunity to pin Memphis back, but a good return by Hightower gets the ball out to the 30-yard line.
And you can see the grass stain on the back of Will's jersey. That's the difference for the 2 quarterbacks tonight. Will under constant pressure in the first half.
Out in the flat, Cam Baker with the catch, and Baker. And disaster in the backfield. Yard loss. Dan Williams, the senior from Memphis, came in and blew that play up.
We haven't called his name a lot tonight, but another key to this defense has been Dan Williams and his growth defensively. You see him after that tackle, very big in the bottom half, very, very strong at 320 pounds. And Monty Kiffin excited at his level of play as this season has worn on.
2nd and 12, blitz off the corner. Hudgens loses the football. It's kicked, moving around, and Eric Berry has it. Berry Johnny on the spot is going to be ruled down at the 30-yard line. 2nd fumble recovery of the season for the junior All-American. Recovered by Berry, forced out by Ben Martin. 2nd turnover of the ball game, forced by the Vols.
Tennessee got after Will Hudgens in that first half with 4 guys, and the theme continues. As a line stunt away from Ben Martin, but Ben Martin just blows by Tommy Walker. And Curtis Steele has no answer for him. And what a disappointing start to the second half. Coming out of half, and Memphis turns it over for the 3rd time tonight.
Eric Berry's got like a heat sensor telling him where that football is whenever it's loose. He just played that perfectly, was right where he needed to be, and using those good hands, picked it up.
Timeout.
For a turnover.
Tennessee. That's their first charge. Timeout.
That's interesting. Jonathan Crompton and the Volunteers having a hard time getting started here in the 3rd quarter, forced to call a timeout. And Lane Kiffin looking for his first winning streak as a college head coach. His team has played well at times, but they've never been able to do it back-to-back. Schedule, of course, hasn't been in his favor over the last couple of weeks. Remember, he had to play both at Florida and at Alabama. At the time, both those teams were #1 when they played them. Fought valiantly, but losing both times. He has been around some quality programs, though. For that 6-year period at USC, did some fantastic things under the watchful eye of Pete Carroll.
And learned a lot from Pete Carroll. I talked about Norm Chow and some of the concepts that you see tonight. Those are Norm Chow concepts, some West Coast principles. But he learned a lot about competition. He learned about recruiting and work ethic. He said yesterday how much Pete Carroll just thrives on competition, and that's really what recruiting is. And Lane, as a recruiter at USC, put together the 2 #1 classes in his tenure, in his 6-year period. They're 2 #1 rated classes.
Now on Lane's staff as the defensive line coach. He was the head coach for 3 years at Ole Miss. Still plenty of time for the youngster Kiffin to figure things out. Crompton sneaks out of that pocket and picks up 4 yards.
You know, it's interesting that timeout was not due to offensive struggles. Lane Kiffin wanted to see whether or not Eric Berry's knee was down.
Well, his elbow was. It's the elbow right there. down and 6. Ball batted at the line. It'll bring up.
Seen a lot of blowouts in this contest, and Tommy West none too happy with the first 30 minutes of this game.
3rd and 6. Complete. First down. Denarius Moore picks up 10. We talked about it in the first half. Tennessee has only lost once against Memphis. And Peyton Manning, if you're watching at home, run to the kitchen for a couple of moments or close the ears. The only time Tennessee has ever lost against Memphis was on the watchful eye of Peyton Manning. That was back in 1996. The game was played at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. The only time Memphis won, Peyton Manning was the quarterback for the Vols. Touchdown, Denarius Moore. He juggled it, but finds it from 16 yards out. 5th touchdown pass for Crumpton.
And Lane Kiffin talked about these wide receivers getting better and better as this season's evolved. They've gotten healthy. They were young when they started this season, very youthful in the system, learning the concepts, learning the precision, learning how Lane wanted these guys to play. And you're seeing tonight, these receivers are helping out Jonathan Crompton. Excellent concentration by Moore to bring that in.
Lincoln, his 7th extra point made. Touchdown catch, Denarius Moore, his 3rd touchdown of the season. Crompton now has 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. If you want to see when history was made by the Memphis Tigers, we send you back to 1996, November 9th, a youngster by the name of Peyton Manning at the helm for the Volunteers, but he was not enough that day. Kind of a crazy kickoff return. Replay would show that the runner was down, but, well, didn't have replay in the college game back in 1996. And Memphis ends up winning that ball game, much to the glee of the head coach for Memphis at the time, Rip Shear. May have been the highlight of his tenure in Memphis. The only time the Tigers have defeated the Vols. Marcus Hightower on the return, tries the left side. And Hightower, man, has the legs just ripped out from underneath him at the 15-yard line. The Kevin Cobb touchdown in that game in 1996 stood up because there was no replay. This play was challenged. And Eric Berry is down because the elbow is down. Hudgens wants to throw. Complete Duke Calhoun. Pickup of 8. 6 years with the Memphis Tigers. Jack of all trades, has also been a tight end, a fullback. He's been the starting quarterback off and on for 3 different years. Let's go to the studio.
And he does have all movement in his extremities.
Thank you, Lowell. Big fella, Carlos Singleton. The quality gain for Memphis. Little Hudgens and the Memphis Tigers trying to get something positive going. Curtis Steele, delayed handoff, caught down at the 40-yard line. One-handed tackle by Dan Williams.
You know, and for both sides right now, you feel a lot of the energy out of the stadium. It's homecoming, but when it's 49-7 with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter, this crowd not in the frenzy they were early on. And for Tennessee defensively, not a time you want to get lethargic. Monty Kiffin, trust me, and his staff are going to look at this film just as critically as they will the first quarter. They're stickler for details. And I love some of the stories we heard yesterday. The story about Peyton Manning and his visit here over the summer when he and Monty got into a room with film. Peyton brought down some of his Indianapolis film against Tampa Bay, and the two of them talked shop for hours about some of the nuances and the details within the schemes that both of them run.
good open field tackle is made by Darren Mays Jr., the true freshman from Atlanta.
I don't think I've ever heard a better soundbite than what Lane Kiffin said about his dad. He said, my dad, he's a prisoner to the game of football. He can't get away from it. He locks himself in rooms. I told you in the first half, his trip to Tampa Bay where Lane said, get away, get recharged, get some time off before this season cranks up. And he goes to Tampa Bay, and what does he do? He goes to One Buck Place, the Buccaneers headquarters, finds a room, and continues to haggle the Tennessee video people who are on vacation for more and more video. Send it to me. I want this cut up. I want that cut up. He can't get away from the game of football. At 69, his will and his desire burns, and I think he's been energized. Energized by the college game, energized by the Vol Walk, energized by 100,000 people coming here, energized by recruiting in the competition to land these top kids.
Look at Steele. Curtis Steele out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Memphis showing some life here, down by 42.
Monty Kiffin and Ed Orgeron and Lance Thompson and the whole crew defensively are going to get after these guys and evaluate and critique them here. That's just what they're about.
Monty Kiffin, obviously so long in the NFL, as to what he was doing in Tampa. Can he replicate at the college level here at Tennessee?
It's difficult in a 20-hour week, and I think that's why this team and this defense has grown as the season's gone on, Eric. When you have 20 hours to implement that plan versus the pro game where you have an unlimited number of hours, it really puts the will and the want to spend the extra time. But I think you're seeing this season, he's doing a lot of the same things, and you're not seeing it tonight because this game's well out of hand. Look at him still on the field. But he still dials up the third down blitz package. He still attacks protections. He still teaches the very minute details within these zone drops. And here actually is a little different look. Here's your 3-down look and a blitz off of it.
On 3rd and 9, they may have trumped him. Screen set up to TJ Pitts. And Pitts is going to be close to the first down marker. Miles Jr. stops him. And I think they're going to be a half-yard short. I think this is going to have to be go time if it is short. And 4th and inches, down by 42. Why not?
Yeah, I was waiting to see that pressure. That's the one thing about Monty Kiffin. You talk to anybody in the NFL, and what he did was attack your protections with different blitz looks. And tonight it's been all very base defense. That blitz would have got home, but you're right. In that case, Clay Helton anticipates pressure and dials the screen up to beat the blitz. But I was looking forward to this season. Everybody has this perception of the Tampa 2, and they just line up and play 2 deep or play 3 deep. And that is a perception that is not built in any reality. The reality is he disguises looks so well. The reality is he's a technician when it comes to the little nuances and the little details and hand placement and eyes and reading your keys and trusting the system. And I thought he'd have raging success. I really did coming into this season. And you look at not just tonight, but the body of work with Florida in particular, with Alabama in the 4 field goals, with 1 touchdown in 3 games. I think you're starting to see the kind of production you're going to see in Knoxville for quite some time.
4th and 1. And Hudgens keeps it himself and gets the first down. But also considered to be a fantastic line coach.
And he was with that staff at USC and Lane Kiffin, and obviously went on to Ole Miss, recruited a lot of the talent that Houston Nutt has capitalized on, putting him in the right position the last few years. But Ed, a masterful recruiter, and he's got some people to work with. And you look at Dan Williams, the 5th-year senior whose light has come on. You look at Chris Walker. He's just a junior. Ben Martin, just a junior. And is there any doubt in anybody's mind about the recruiting that those 2 guys are going to do? The amount of work and effort? I mean, they've proven it. They have a track record of doing so in recruiting to this place, these facilities, the tradition and the history here. This SEC East is going to continue to get more and more competitive.
1st down and 10. Steele with the football. Open field tackle made by LaMarcus Thompson. Pickup of 1. LaMarcus Thompson, one of those talented juniors. He has been dealing with a neck injury in recent weeks. Maybe that'll affect his golf swing. LaMarcus Thompson was a 3-year letterman on the golf team back in his high school days in Lithonia, Georgia. I heard he could really whack that golf ball.
I think actually even the captain, not just the letterman, he was the 3-time captain. How many strong side linebackers can say that?
Curtis Steele inside the 5 to the 2. 4 downs to get a yard. Very patient run for Steele, and it results in 6 for the Tigers. Touchdown number 6 rushing on the year for Curtis Steele. And finally something to clap about here in the second half for the Memphis Tiger faithful.
He's got huge hands too, so I'm thinking baseball.
How long is he?
He was over 22.5 inches. He was a big old boy.
Congratulations, Molly, on that one. She's doing fine?
Yes, she is. That is great stuff. Thank you.
So 2 girls, and now your first boy. That is fantastic news. And what's more impressive, well, almost as impressive as Molly giving birth to this massive baby, is the fact that you were able to make it and study for this game with probably 2-hour bursts of sleep the entire week.
That is true. That is true. But we've had a lot to talk about tonight, and Tennessee actually is going to go with a new quarterback. They're going to put Nick Stevens in. There's plenty of fodder offensively with their ability to move it up and down the field. It's been an adventurous week. I can't tell you how special this place is, too. We get to the SEC in some really neat venues, and this one ranks right up there, the very best.
And it's easy to get jazzed when you come into this type of facility. Nick Stevens in the game for the first time under center, hands it off to Bryce Brown for a pickup of 2. Let's go to the studio. Thanks, Lowell. Man, what a tough season for Vanderbilt. They just have not had any success offensively, and now their sophomore quarterback Larry Smith that they were so excited about out for the year. Just kind of a do-over wannabe for Vanderbilt, just trying to get this season over with. Looking for Luke Stocker. Stevens' pass is high. What does Lane Kiffin want to get out of Nick Stevens over the last quarter and a half of this ball game?
Well, much like I talked about on the defensive side of the ball, how these coaches are going to continue to evaluate. This is Lane's chance to see what he has in Nick Stevens, a redshirt junior. Jonathan Crompton will move on after his 5th year. Nick Stevens, there's not a lot of other quarterbacks right now in the program. This will be Nick Stevens' job to lose going into next season, and right now an opportunity to show Lane Kiffin and the offensive staff what kind of grasp he has right now.
On 3rd down, gets outside the pocket, pass incomplete. Looking for
over to Nick Stevens, and you see the difference. You see the backup come into the game, and what did you see with Crompton? He hit that fist step, the ball's out. He gets on those rollouts, the ball is out. That time, Nick Stevens just took too long. Lane Kiffin saying, be decisive. You've got the hitch route for the 1st down. Take it. No reason to hold on to that ball. Take a cue from Jonathan Crompton and get the ball out of your hands so these guys can make some plays for you.
Chad Cunningham will punt it away. Hobbs on the return. Gets to the 45 and is dropped. 38-yard punt. Memphis will have the football when we return. They scored a touchdown last time they touched it. Trying to make it 2 in a row. Can they do it? We'll find out. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. You had a chance to see Matthew Grooms, one of the long snappers on Steve Spurrier's roster, perform. Matthew Grooms, a Marine, getting a chance to play college football. One of many, I won't say many, but a handful of veterans in the world of Division I football. Cam Baker gets out to the 49-yard line, his 3rd catch of the ball game. Tackle made by Mike Edwards. Now Tennessee flexing some serious muscle against the Memphis Tigers. Tennessee has scored on 7 of the 9 drives that they've had the football. Jonathan Crompton is close to magnificent during his time on the field. A 300-yard day in the 1st half. Fumble, ball is loose on the field, recovered by Cam Baker. After TJ Pitts lost it. Jonathan Crompton, probably not going to see him anymore, finishes with 5 touchdowns throwing, and he also ran one in. So he accounted for 6 of the 7 touchdowns for Tennessee.
Yeah, very, very efficient offensively for Tennessee in the first half. Nearly 400 yards of offense and really hitting on all cylinders, spreading the wealth. 4 different receivers in that first half, catching touchdowns.
Ball knocked away, pass broken up. Good defense played in that secondary. Looks like he's coaching up the offensive line. Come on, guys.
No, he knows those guys did a heck of a job for him tonight.
Hudgens wants a bunch to the end zone. Incomplete, trying to get a streaking Stephen Joachim, but there is a flag down close to the line. Memphis 2-6 so far this season. They're 1-4 in Conference USA play. Usually they've been much better than this the last couple of years for Tommy West. They've been to bowl games. 5 of the last 6 seasons. Went to the St. Petersburg Bowl just a year ago. Lost against some.
You lose probably your best corner in D.A. Griffin.
Incomplete. Anderson knocks it away. Let's send you to the studio. Lowell. Memphis looking for their 2nd consecutive touchdown. Get it out in space. Brian Hall, his first catch, gets the first down for the Tigers.
It's been an effective play tonight for Memphis. Just basically your toss sweep concept, your old school toss sweep, but doing it with your receivers and getting your other guys out there. And Memphis a number of times tonight has gotten good blocking down the field. Just not been able to do it consistently enough.
They didn't get enough for the first down. They mark him about a half-yard short of the marker. Steele has the football, has the first down. Still on his feet. Down to the 3. This kid runs hard. Touchdown, Curtis Steele, his 2nd of the ball game.
Third's had 8 of them in his career. Do that math, 34 100-yard games in his 4-year tenure.
David Oku in the free. Out to the 46-yard line. These are the numbers for Curtis Steele. Going up in the century mark. 17 rushes, 95 yards. A couple of rushing scores. He now has 7 of those on the year.
And last year, over 1,200 yards for Curtis. And this year now, he is nifty.
And Nick Stevens in for his 2nd series. He went 3 and out. His first time in the ball game. Fullback Austin Johnson in motion. Play fake to Bryce Brown. Stevens completes his first pass. Marcellus Teague gets out for another first down to pick up 11. Let's get an update on Cincinnati. Lowell, what's going on? Brian Kelly's got his bunch worked up into a lather. They're playing fantastic football. They're in the Queen City. Stevens wants to throw. Complete. Teague inside the 30.
You know, it's interesting when we get these opportunities to have the production meetings with the staffs and the coaches, and you get up close and personal, and you learn a little bit about the way guys coach. Last year I had the opportunity to see Brian Kelly, and you talk about a guy that walks into a room with a presence. There's just certain guys, and he's not the biggest guy, about 5'9", but when he walks into that room, he just envelops. It's just his aura. And you look at the success that he has had at Grand Valley State, at Central Michigan, now at Cincinnati. Just a tremendous football coach.
Play action. Incomplete. Ball was juggled, almost picked off by Marcus Ball. I'm talking about Cincinnati. They're only a
loss hurts them. Remember, Boise State, their most quality win, week 1, beating Oregon. Oregon loses today. That doesn't help Boise State in the long run.
Brock, finishing off that thought on Brian Kelly, the head coach at Cincinnati. What's his probably
at the head of the class in college football, how innovative he is within his scheme. Brian Kelly not far behind, and he recruits, and he's recruited everywhere he's been.
Bryce Brown, little 2-step through that hole, gets the first down all the way to the pickup of 11 for the true freshman from Wichita.
And what a great segue there. You recruit, much like Lane Kiffin did with Bryce Brown, the #1 guy in many publications out of Wichita in all of college football this season coming in. And these coaches know, Monty knows, Lane knows, you want to build your program, you've got to get kids like Bryce Brown through the door. You got to get them on campus, show them the facility, show them the groundbreaking of the facility yesterday, a multi-million-dollar facility like they need anymore.
First and 10, Stevens wants the touchdown, gets it. Denarius Moore, his second touchdown. This one from 14 yards out.
And that was a better drive by Nick Stevens. Other than the seam route that was just a little bit late, he had a number of throws where that ball came out of his hand with a lot of authority, and they're just a fade, a one-on-one situation where all of these receivers tonight have been just too much for the Memphis secondary.
We haven't played a complete 3 quarters, and we've got 77 points scored. 11 touchdowns combined for these two clubs.
And look at Denarius here. He's right at the top of your screen. You know, sometimes it's easy, Eric. You just run a simple little fade route. You see as a quarterback a one-on-one situation. Look at the single high safety. Immediately he knows there's no one that can come over the top. And that's why you've seen a lot of the vertical game tonight, whether it's been up the seam, whether it's been some of these shots outside. Memphis, because they've got to stop the run, well, they commit that extra defender, and you play one safety deep, and that's a quarterback's dream. And especially when your receivers are able to win and win those one-on-one battles.
As a quarterback, Brock, what are you looking for? What is Nick Stevens looking at when he sees Moore go down there? Because the coverage was fairly tight.
Well, we saw that from Jonathan Crompton earlier, and I made that point that sometimes you trust your receiver. Even though he is covered, you trust he's going to go up and make a play, and Nick did a nice job there with his touch. You want to give your guys a chance when they prove themselves, they have tonight, that they can go up and make that catch at the high point. It gives you a lot of confidence.
Marcus Hightower on the return. Stopped at the 26-yard line. ESPNU's coverage of college football continues on ESPNU later tonight. It's the Bulldogs of Fresno State against, he's a good one, Curtis Steele. They fake the handoff to him and get it out to Cam Baker in space. And Baker gets across the 40-yard line, a pickup of 14. This offense.
Don't see the same intensity right now out of Tennessee. Their front four not getting those collisions and hits on Will. You looked at that game tonight, Fresno State, Idaho. There's a couple guys in college football, and Brian Kelly, he's gotten a lot of credit and well-deserved, but Rob Akey, the head coach at Idaho, remember that name, Al Golden at Temple, and what he's done this season. 2 programs that have been downtrodden for many years, having unprecedented success this season.
Now 3 quarters in the books, 77 points on the scoreboard. Unfortunately for Memphis, they've only got 21 of those points. The ball's up big. When we come back in the 4th quarter, we'll talk Lane Kiffin and what the faithful think of him. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. The 34-year-old Lane Kiffin on top by 35 against the Memphis Tigers as we begin quarter number 4. Tennessee trying to win 2 consecutive games for the first time this season. 4 wins, 4 losses. In a non-conference game against in-state rival Memphis. 2nd down and 5. Tigers have scored each of the last 2 times they've had the football. Looking for more. Curtis Steele in the secondary. Out of bounds at the 40-yard.
Speed to make it happen.
Another quick hitter. This time Baker has the football. Baker gets out to the 27-yard line. Let's go to the studio for an update on the Houston.
121 yards and 2 scores.
Kid can play. So can Curtis Steele. He rumbles inside the 15 to the 14. Another first down. Pickup of 13. Left side they go. Hightower to the 10, to the 8.
And the challenge for Memphis tonight, they just could not get that run game going early. And when you fall behind and Tennessee scores and scores and scores again, and all of a sudden it's 21-0 before you blink, awfully difficult to establish that run game. Delph is a defensive coordinator over the last 5 years here, and you just see that defensively. They just have not been able to find any consistency. He wasn't happy about the East Carolina effort. He really felt like they didn't bring any attitude defensively, very lethargic. Tonight, I think they just ran into a red-hot quarterback and a secondary that's just been besieged by injuries to their safety and to their corner. And Lane Kiffin and Jonathan Crompton took advantage.
Pitts in the backfield next to Hudgens. They give it to Pitts. He's got the first down. And he stopped just short of the goal line. Half-yard line. Pitts remains in the game. Out of the shotgun. The half-yard line. Pitts has it. Stood up, not going to make it. Montori Hughes, freshman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, among others on the stop. 2nd and goal. Memphis trying to score for the 3rd consecutive possession. This is the 10th play of this drive. Pitts trying to sneak in. Still not in. Took the low road to try to dive across the goal line. Wouldn't stop. Half-yard short. And Hudgens uses that 225-pound body to score the touchdown for Memphis. Their 4th touchdown of the evening. Their 3rd consecutive. For Tennessee was a lightning rod for attention. So far through 8 games, what do the Volunteer fans think of their head coach? We went to the streets to find out.
You know, I think Lane's doing a real good job this year. I think he came into a tough situation. He got a bad rap out in Oakland, but he's doing a great job with the team.
I think he's really dedicated to building a championship team here, and I think his dad, Monty Kiffin, is doing a great job with the defense.
As his coaching, I think he's doing a good job, and I think he's going to be good for Tennessee.
I think if I gave him a scale of 1 to 10, I give him about a 9. His coaching staff, I don't think you're going to find a better staff, professional football or college football.
I would rate him as doing awesome. He's going to be an excellent coach.
I think Coach Kiffin's done a great job. I think we've done more than most people have expected, and I think we're going to be a formidable force come next year.
Wow, that's obviously not a scientific poll, but man, they're happy. Lane Kiffin taking over for Philip Fulmer, who won a national championship, who did fantastic things during his time at his alma mater. But so far, so good for Lane Kiffin.
And what would have happened if they would have made one of those field goals against Alabama? Can you imagine?
Oh. Yeah, this team is 4-4, and he's getting such praise. True freshman Bryce Brown tries the left side. Flag is down, gets to the 34-yard line. Youngest coaches in FBS. Pat Fitzgerald had that honor a year ago, taken away by Lane Kiffin. Pat Fitzgerald, a big win for Northwestern earlier today against Iowa. Steve Sarkisian, another member of the Pete Carroll tree. David Elson, Western Kentucky in the Sun Belt. It was this week in the season a year ago, homecoming game here at Neyland Stadium against the Wyoming Cowboys, where Tennessee lost, and that was really kind of when the bottom fell out.
Personal foul. Face mask. Offense. Number 21. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Tennessee losing against Wyoming here at home on homecoming, a difficult loss for Philip Fulmer's staff. And that really greased the skids to allow Lane Kiffin to take over.
And a lot of change offensively. Jonathan Crompton went through a number of systems and coordinators in his tenure here. I think you're seeing already some of the stability just within this season. I asked Jonathan yesterday. It was great catching up with him after the walkthrough. What do you think of this one? You've had many to see and to learn. He said, this is the best. This one has the most answers, the most built-in answers. I don't have to do a ton of audibling and checking at the line. I've got lots of places to go with the football. And look out.
Nick Stevens gets it out into space. Big-time gainer. All the way out to the 45-yard line for Ron Wilkes. Wilkes' his first grab.
You've seen outside of that 3 and out, you've seen a better job. Again, Nick Stevens hitting his fifth step, throwing that curl route. Wilkes, a converted defensive back, has made the move to offense. These backups offensively tonight have fared a lot better for Tennessee than the backups defensively.
Brown has been the workhorse here in the fourth quarter. Knocked down at the 42-yard line. Let's go back to the studio. Lowell, what's going on with the Florida? Going to continue to be the #1 team in the country. To make sure, tune in to Inside the Polls on Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPNU HD. Find out where everyone is situated in FBS football on Inside the Polls on Monday. Crossing the 50-yard line goes Bryce Brown. Brock, I want to go back. I asked you before about Brian Kelly of Cincinnati, what he's going to be known for. When we look at Lane Kiffin years down the road, we know he's a great recruiter. He says he's a good manager of young men. But on the field, what's going to be his signature? What's he going to be known for?
Well, I think two things. I think number one, he understood that he's an offensive guy, and I better hire a really good defensive staff, and he did. He hired one of the best defensive minds in the game of football, who happens to be his father. And then offensively, and you're seeing this grow tonight. You're seeing it at Florida with Tim Tebow, who had a group of young receivers. No one took into account the loss of Lewis Murphy and Percy Harvin and the baby steps they had to make offensively. And Lane Kiffin likewise. He said, we played people early. Maybe we shouldn't have. We rushed back guys from injury. Maybe we shouldn't have. But you're seeing exactly what he did at USC. Even at Oakland, as dysfunctional as that organization has been, they did some nice things offensively. And you just look at the concepts, and I can see them so clearly from the press box here tonight. The concepts are well taught. The guys are getting into the right places. They're playing fast on both sides of the ball. I think you see some of the real advantages of professional coaches coming back and coaching college football. Professional coaches like a Nick Saban. It's much the same story at Alabama. A brilliant guy in the X's and O's and the impact that they can have on the college game. And that's what I think a lasting impression, and a first impression as this season has unfolded, is this group is learning how to play and play fast. And the faster they play and the more confident they get, even better they're going to become on both sides of the ball.
3rd down and 1. True freshman Bryce Brown gets the first down as he crosses the 35.
Now, I will say this. They're going to have to recruit up front. This is a veteran crew up front. Redshirt senior left tackle, redshirt senior left guard and center, backup redshirt senior left guard. You've got Aaron Douglas, your right tackle they really like, and these are a number of backups. But if Lane Kiffin is going to grow this system offensively, he's going to really have to replenish up front and recruit some big guys to come in and fill the gap. They're going to get better at the skill possession. They already have this season, but they've got to find a quarterback and some offensive linemen very, very quickly.
Nick Stevens drops back, throws over the middle, complete. Nukeith Richardson, his 3rd catch of the ball game, gets down to the 10-yard line, a gain of 24. Let's go to the studio for an Ole Miss update. Lowell.
Well, Ole Miss was having some difficulties with Northern Arizona. This game was tied up at 14, but the Rebels have...
Thank you, Lowell. A lot of non-conference games in the SEC this week.
No, there's one of those young skill guys. They've recruited them. Bryce Brown, Nukeith Richardson, top-tier type of skill talent in last year's recruiting class.
Brown gets down to the 5-yard line with at that most recent catch for Nukeith Richardson. He's got 3 grabs for 54 yards. Came into this game with just 5 catches for 48 yards. So Nukeith's a guy who was actually absent from one of the meetings on Sunday. A little bit homesick. Call it what you will, but welcome back to the fold by Lane Kiffin, enjoying his most productive day as a collegian today.
Just a nice skinny post, that single high safety. You throw it in the window. Stevens and Richardson deliver.
Stevens on the design rollout to the end zone. Picked off. Picked off by Lavaris Edwards. Maybe a bit of a force on that throw by Stevens. And it's the first interception of the day for Memphis.
You asked me earlier, when you see coverage, when do you throw it up to them still? Well, when they're covered that tightly, you don't want to throw the ball on the line. It's one thing to throw a fade route where you guys can go up and make a play. It's another thing when that coverage is so tight and you're trying to deliver a ball on line. Bad things can happen. You look at Nick Stevens as well. These are valuable reps for him. Just 4 for 4 on the season. He's got limited opportunities. This will be good film for him to work and grow on.
Curtis Steele still in the ball game. Good gain on first down. Gets across the 20-yard line. A pickup of 15. Well, Tennessee, in case you're wondering, this is the most points they've given up so far this season. Before this ball game, the most they gave up was against Auburn, when they gave up 26 points in that losing effort. Hudgens out to Baker. This play has worked all night long.
Tennessee's just continuing to play very soft zone. They want to keep the play in front of them. And Memphis has gotten continued production with their receivers blocking down the field. For these spread offenses, they try to find ways to get run-type plays within their scheme. And you see this many times, a little bubble screen in football where you take that receiver, you throw it to him, you got to have people that are willing to block outside, and Memphis has tonight.
Brock, I want to get back to Tommy West. We were talking about it last possession. The athletic director for Memphis, R.C. Johnson, made it clear earlier this week, saying we have 3 moneymakers at Memphis. We have fundraising, we have men's basketball, and we have football. We need to make money out of football. They drew over 4,000 fans, just over 4,000 fans for a game on a Tuesday last week against East Carolina. With the success that Tommy West has had, 5 bowl games in 6 years, doing good things at the Conference USA level, do you think he should be in any jeopardy at all? He's still got 3 years left on his contract.
Well, that's a big deal right there. The 3 years that remain, and the athletic director has to ask these questions. If we make a move, how high up the food chain can we climb? I mean, what else can we do? Is 7-5 and 8-4 and 7-5 good enough? I think the challenge this season is you have senior wideouts, you have senior offensive linemen. You have gone to your 3rd quarterback this season, but it's been the problems defensively. I mean, that really, and there's been so much turnover there for Tommy West, and he has tried, and he told us very honestly that last year the loss of Tim Walton, defensive coordinator, a good friend of his who took a job with the Detroit Lions, was a big blow to some of the continuity that you try to develop. But anytime you start to go 2-6, now 2-7, and you look at the remaining schedule, it doesn't get any easier. You have UAB at home next weekend, but then Memphis has to travel to Houston. They have to travel and end the year at Tulsa. Tommy West survived a couple-win season a few years back when they were rebuilding a little bit.
Now, just to be fair, along the Southeast, you're not going to find a guy who is as liked as Tommy West. He is top shelf when it comes to his candor, his honesty, the way he conducts his program. But 2-win seasons have people asking questions. Open receiver down to the 11-yard line. Curtis Johnson picks up 17 yards and another potential scoring drive for the Tigers. They haven't given up.
Well, 2-win seasons, what they unfortunately get to are small crowds. When you win 2 games and you lose 7, it's difficult to draw those crowds and make that money. That is your revenue.
first down. TJ Pitts gets to the 9-yard line.
And they've been innovative. You know, you chat with Tommy and you say, well, what do you do recruiting-wise? They do everything in their power, much like Lane's doing on the other side. You know, they're bringing in transfers from prominent programs, looking for another chance and opportunity. It's awfully difficult as well. Geography, Eric, where they're located in Memphis. You're competing with Arkansas and Ole Miss. You're in state with Tennessee, powerhouse, big-time SEC programs that you're competing with in the recruiting battle, and those are tough battles to win.
Tommy, a Tennessee legend as a tight end, playing on the varsity for 3 years, 72, 73, and 74. As co-captain during his playing days. Also was a graduate assistant in 1977 here at his alma mater, and was the running backs coach in 1990 here in Knoxville. Actually, his claim to fame, one of them, he still holds the record for the longest non-scoring play in Memphis Tiger history. Kind of dubious. Got caught at the 1-yard line in the game against Vanderbilt. 2:44 remaining. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Knoxville, Tennessee. Battle for the Volunteer State. Tennessee on top of Memphis, 56-28, doubling their pleasure. The Tigers knocking on that door once again, trying to score another touchdown. They've got the ball at the 8-yard line. With a reverse and around. Baker upended. Tremendous defensive play in space is made by Anthony Anderson.
That's a little better effort defense, a little more energy, and better tackling. Corners have always tackled in Monty Kiffin's system. You're going to play corner, you better be willing and able to tackle. It's delivering a blow right through the thigh pad.
Fourth down and 7. Into the end zone, looking for the big fella, incomplete. C.J. Fleming, sophomore from Richmond, Virginia, knocks the football away. A couple of nice plays in a row defensively for Fleming and the Volunteers. 2:01 remaining. Monty Kiffin pleased with that performance.
Black is the new.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Now to wrap this one up with a pretty little bow. 2:01 remaining. Tennessee Volunteers going to pick up win number 5 on the year. They're on top of Memphis 56-28. Jonathan Crompton was electric for Lane Kiffin. 5 touchdown passes for Crompton, 331 yards through the skies. He ran for a touchdown.
Nearly 80% completion. A really tremendous night for Jonathan.
Nick Stevens finishing this one out. Hands it off to David Oku. Pickup of 1. Well, we showed you the SEC East standings before. This is what the SEC West standings look like. Alabama, big win today over LSU to move to 6-0 in conference.
We finally got the offense going in that second half, did Alabama. That was the difference. Played fine defense all season long. And that will really be the equation when you get to that title game. If both teams, both Alabama and Florida, can find their way to Atlanta again undefeated, the real question will be, what can Greg McElroy, Mark Ingram, and the Tide do consistently on offense?
And with that win by Alabama, that confirms that the SEC championship game will be Alabama against LSU. Well, check that, Alabama against...
Lane Kiffin knew when he took this job, the opportunities that he had and the groundbreaking that just went on yesterday for a new football facility that will even further enhance a $39 million new football facility with weight room and locker room and all the bells and whistles. A lot of sunshine at USC. Had a lot of tradition at USC. Didn't have the facilities. Certainly didn't have 100,000 people early on in building that program and the fan base here. And you know that Lane and his staff are going to work their tails off this offseason to bring in another top 10 class and a top 10 effort tonight from beginning to end.
So for the first time in the Lane Kiffin era here in Knoxville, they win back-to-back games. They move to 5-4 on the season. Coming up next for the Tennessee Volunteers, they will play at Ole Miss next week. Then they have Vandy at home, and they finish off the SEC regular season at Kentucky over the Thanksgiving weekend. Sure hope you enjoyed it. Our final score from Neyland Stadium, 56-28, Tennessee wins. For my partner, Brock Hewitt, and our entire ESPNU crew, I'm Eric Collins, saying so long from Knoxville. Sure hope you enjoyed it. A big win